All right, all right, all right. Happy day after Easter. We are back for another live discussion in the Counselor's Corner, open talk discussion. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is who's it? Uncle Ron
Yes,
again,
sir.
again. Um, Uncle Ron
Hi
T.
there.
Washington.
Yeah, we
uh,
gonna get the wolf out of here for a while. We know y'all tired of his cantankerous behind, so we gonna give y'all something a little softer.
Uh, Welcome to our broadcast where we're exploring a question that's at the heart of many women's lives. What does happiness mean? In a world where societal expectations, cultural norms, and personal aspirations often intersect, defining happiness can be complex. Well, tonight, Monday, April 21st at 9 p.m., we will be discussing the topic what makes her happy? A deeper look. We will dive into the multifaceted nature of female happiness, examining the various factors that contribute to it and featuring some testimonies regarding the subject matter on what it takes to live a fulfilling life. Well, we might not have any testimonies, but I'm sure both of us have things, got a lot of feedback from things that women have said over the years. And I know I've been raised by predominantly woman family, so I don't know if their concepts is always the greatest, but we'll see. Join us as we explore the intricacies of female happiness and discover what it takes to thrive in today's world. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell a happy female to tell her to share with another happy female. Two happy females, ain't that a blunt? To please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Sitting on 946 subs, four away from the next goal of 950. Let's go. 54 subs away from 1,000. We are knocking on the door. I need a few more of you to answer. So here we are. Another open discussion about happiness, and it's that time of the year. It's springtime. Uh, you know, I guess for some people it may not because it's actually uncuffing season. It's coming up, or it's here. Usually, I say it happens around May, and the only reason I'm saying that is because growing up in Niagara Falls, usually may be when spring starts there. But then again, we have had some snow in May. So usually when the weather breaks, that's when Melvin or Tyrone or Eugene and all them say the hell with this spot. I had somewhere to cuff up for the winter season, but now I'm about to hit Mom Dukes up or my sister is Shack out there. And of course, poor Trina, poor Shaniqua, uh, because he's
Tax cycle
gone.
season is over too. The money spent.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. Me, damn, this break went by so fast. Back to school tomorrow. God damn it. Uh, and buckle up, buckle up. That's all I can say. If I was the type to wear sweatsuits and all that stuff, I probably should have just got a bunch of those because it's about to be uh, a hell of a battle to the end. I mean, which a lot of it is state testing um, during the springtime. So that's one of the things too about schools. Y'all ain't hear from me, but I'm sure y'all know it, or if y'all pay attention, these kids really. If school is supposed to be 10 months out of the year, they should be getting knowledge. Shit. With state testing, it might be only 8 months. So that's like 4 months. 4 months of Because let's be real. How many parents are actually saying, "Hey, you're not in school. Let's get out these mathematics books, these ELA books, and y'all gonna do something." How many are doing that? So a lot of time, a lot of time. If you think about it, you start testing heavy in like April, May, June, and then the summer comes. That's like 4 or 5 months straight with just busy work, but no actual learning. Man, I could go deeper, but I won't. I'll wait. But that's where at. Back to work for me tomorrow. Like I said, the the war begins or whatever. Maybe not. I mean, they might come back here, be changed people. They may have resurrected or something and came back and said, you know what, we're gonna close out the year like champions. I doubt it, but that's that. So all right, that's me going on. What's going on, Uncle Ross?
uh, well, reports from the Big Bad Wolf say he's looking to secure another part-time position. So he said he sent out the resume. He's waiting to hear back, and pretty much that's that. Once the weather breaks, he says he's on a mission to drop 80 pounds. I think that's 80 to 81 pounds. So that puts him, for those of you who are keeping score, that puts him about the 290-pound range. And yes, he's looking every bit the 290 pounds. I see him daily. People, it's not pretty, but he said he's gonna get it done. But we know the Big Bad Wolf. He said he's gonna get a lot of stuff done, and we still waiting on that book. So keep your fingers crossed for the Big Bad Wolf, because sometimes he just be all over the place. But we wish him the
Yeah.
best. But
Look, I ain't called him out about the book thing. I ain't called him out. But reason I ain't called him out because I've been talking about middle school madness, but he was almost there. He was there. So you can almost feel the baby kicking, and I don't know what the hell happened. But shout out to
yeah,
Dr. Anwar. I guess he had his book signed, and I wish I could have been
yes,
there. I know I wrote the forward, seen a couple pics, whatever. Shout out to you on your becoming a published author, and I know you got a lot of plans and many more. And you get, what a great concept to talk about how sports runs parallel to life. A lot of people don't understand those teachable moments that you learn in sports. And boy, I always have. Anytime me and my crew get together, that's all we talk about. We just take it back when we was like 16, 17, 18, and just talk sports and talk about certain situations. And it never gets old. It never gets old. The memories always stay right there with you. So I know that book. I got a copy.
I
Over
gotta.
here.
Yes, I have to pick up a copy.
It's a mess, but I got it right here. Uh, the Engineers, a Western New York basketball story, part one. And I happened to write the foreword, so I wish I could have came down for the book signing, but I had so much stuff going on. And I'm trying to get back since the stolen vehicle. So you know, I'm almost ready. Bounce back 25. So things are coming together. But all right, that's that's all I got. That's all I got to say on
Yeah,
this
but
subject.
that's yeah, but that's about it, man. And I'm just waiting. Like I said, waiting for the weather to break. Gonna push the wolf. Make sure you get the lean. There's something else that he's thinking about doing. And I'll run it by David. After the show to see how well it might be received. There's all this chit chat, and I really want to see it myself. There's all this chit chat about him, you know, revamping the women's wardrobe so it fits his taste, and I'm kind of interested in to see what that just might look like. So we can put some feelers out there to see what woman might want to get her wardrobe revamped for a date with Uncle Ron, yours truly, at the expense of the Big Bad Wolf, of course. He's gonna be on a dime for it. He's gonna be on a
Now
dime
we
for it. So
now
we
we
can see
know
how that works out.
Tried to arrange that last time with
Yeah, I know.
Willie Willie Speaks. Things didn't work out, but there's always the opportunity of, hey, if it's on somebody else's dime, see what it's about. Another thing I want to bring up is Niagara Falls news. There's a lot of chatter going on about this, you know, sexual exploitation from the Reverend Craig Cawley. Don't really know him personally, but there's been a lot of talk going on and couple interviews, couple people had broadcast about it, and you know, listen, folks, the guy who came out, who talked about it, can't be dismissive of that man's feelings. Uh, you can't, and seems from what I've been reading, a lot of it is that these are the relatives of the pastor, reverend, whatever you want to call them. And listen, let me let y'all in a little secret. If you stand on something and you stand on principles, it don't matter who the hell the person is. You can't be, you know, Pete Diddy he should rot in jail, or R. Kelly should rot in jail, and this and that if they did that to little kids or somebody, a minor. Um, they deserve everything they get. But then when it's your relative, it changes. Oh, yeah, that's a hypocrite. So it doesn't work like that. If somebody's been violated, they've been violated. And that is painful. And you don't never really recoup or get over it. You may push it back, and the only hope is to stay busy. I was violated.
Yeah.
I was younger, and you know that's one of the things. I stay busy. Uh, I don't let negative things impact me to that point. I try to disassociate with people that's constantly negative, and I kind of built my own world, my own like fort that I don't let people penetrate through. And so for y'all coming at the young man, whatever, y'all need to give that guy some grace and back the fuck up and don't say nothing, because you ain't been through it. Then I don't give a damn if it's your daddy, your mother, uh, your cousin, as Herb used to say back in the days, your greasy granny. I don't care who it is. You shouldn't have nothing to say. And sound like his story. Nobody just make up shit like that. And then other people came out and gave their testimonies. Man, dude, on the clock, whatever. And I just, I don't know, man. We had shows about the black church and all that, but it's not only just the black church; it's that whole
Yeah.
system, period. Whatever. That people can't, I don't know, keep their fucking hands to themselves, or the thoughts that they have. I don't know. There's always saying hurt people like to hurt people, and sometimes people go through stuff, and it's a vicious cycle. But people need to give that brother grace. Said, hey man, he's a strong person to even come out with it, because Niagara Falls is such a close knit city. A lot of people are related and all that. And he doesn't live there anymore, but his family lives there, so it's easy for people to try to target him because of the pastor. And again, like I said, I don't know the pastor. I'm not saying he did anything or not. I don't even know. I just happened to see it come across, and some of my family members filled me in on what was going on, and that was that. Then I watched a couple of the interviews, and I'm like, whoa, shit is getting real. But we already knew that this is some of the things that happened. And this kind of ties in the subject too, because a lot of women's happiness is related to the church. uh, in religion, in listening to fake leadership, uh, people that they will go against their own manage because he said this, he said that, and your man may give you resistance. Say, man, some guys just brutal. Say, man, fuck that pastor or whatever the case is. He don't run my household. And then women are like, oh, pastor said this, pastor said that. Never worship a person who's just like you. They have fault, they have errors, they do things, whatever. And again, I just had talked about it last week. I think that's what's wrong with the whole system. Because shit, if I'm sitting in the crowd at church every day and you giving a message, shit, I want to be able to come at your ass. I want to come at your ass with what you delivering. So that's that. I don't like to be on the soapbox too long, but I see that. That subject is
I
really
haven't heard
cooking.
about this, so this is news to me. Yeah, this is news to me. When you said that, I was like, I was more focused on the business closing about maybe about a little less than a mile from me. A lot of people are up in arms about that, but I'll tackle that on my own personal Facebook page because there's Niagara Falls is really suffering, economically, and a lot of small cities are that failed to transition from one industry to another, and that's the late history of Niagara Falls is and I saw back in high school when I was graduating the change and the transition, but elected officials, whether it be city, county, or state, they were slow to recognize that the Northeast is no longer the manufacturing hub that it once was. Niagara Falls, if you look at the inception of the city of Niagara Falls was built upon two things: tourism and heavy industry. A lot of people are probably unaware with some of the heavy industry that occurred here. There's a plant actually out by the airport, the Bell Aerospace, heavy production in aircraft during World War II. Alcoa, aluminum, Union Carbide, chemicals. Niagara Falls has been steeped in that. And when you talk about jobs, ready-made jobs, as soon as you roll out of high school, you go into a factory and you there for 30 years, nice paycheck, you can raise a family, secure a home, send your kids to college. That was Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls was an extension of Buffalo, blue collar city. So you didn't have to worry about all these things. Crime, minuscule. I mean, there were, and I'm sure David can vouch for this. There were days that we would leave home, we wouldn't lock our doors, didn't lock the car doors. You didn't have to worry about sending your kids to the park to play. All that stuff just didn't exist. So now you get an influx of well, I'm not even gonna say an influx of drugs, and we'll tackle that some other time. But you get an influx of mental illness, economic downturn, uh, poor leadership, and all of that stuff. You have what Niagara Falls is, and by some metrics, depending on who you ask, depending on where you are, the city is still sliding backwards, and it seems like there's no hope of arresting, no pun intended, that development. So, we don't see, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the city is a complete loss. There are people who are actually doing reasonably well here. It's just that the people who aren't cast a darker shadow on the city as a whole. So when you hear about, and I see it when people talk about downtown, and it takes my ass, to be honest, because for as much as there is that isn't going on in the city, if you do right, you work and you hang out with your family, you're having a good time. You're not worried about most of the stuff that everybody else is worried about. You're not worried about putting food on your table, although the cost of living has increased. But if you look at Niagara Falls or Western New York area, comparatively speaking, it's still cheap to live here. But you do have to work, and a lot of people don't have that mentality instilled in them. You could talk about where it comes from, how it's manifesting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not here for that. I'm just here to put the story out there. You adjudicate it however you want to. But I mean, there's some things going on that need to be addressed. And the only way that's really going to be addressed is by families, communities, and people. You're looking for your government to address it, they're not going to make your child go to school. They're not going to make your child behave. They're not going to make you behave. They're not going to make you do what you're supposed to do as an adult. All that is self-driven. And if you're not self-driven, when stuff starts to go bad around you, look in the mirror. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Good evening, Miss Sullivan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hope all is well with you. I know you one of the trailblazers out doing your own thing. I don't know, where you at? Are you in Texas, Alabama? But I know you know, got a trailblazer and a visionary, and you're one of the ones that end up leaving and trying to set the world on fire at another, in another state. But I know you near and dear because you still have family in Niagara Falls. So it's just Alabama. Okay. I think I know my mother been talking about it. Us hitting Alabama for a family reunion. I haven't been down there. I stopped going down. I used to go there every year for a family reunion, and then I think once I got to a certain age, I said I am not heading down that way. And the thing is, the town that they were from, it was like dirt roads, roosters, and all that stuff. I was a kid, so it really I didn't explore all the great things that probably Alabama has to offer. So as an older guy, I definitely probably need to make that trip back down to the roots of where my family came in existence at. So I know I'm gonna have to hit it up and come down that way soon. But glad you joining us. But I guess tonight's topic is female happiness and what makes her happy, a deeper look. So, um, Uncle Ron, I'm sure Herb gave you some insight on why he chose this topic. I mean, some women are probably like, why y'all talking about that? Won't y'all worry about men happiness? Because y'all some miserable mother. And so have at it.
Well, let me do this first. Let me give a definition so everybody that's listening that might come and understand the baseline from which we're going to operate from. Now, I looked it up. Webster's Dictionary, of course, or Webster's Merriam, defines it as a noun of state of well-being and contentment. Now, they use joy. I'm going to admit joy because I think joy is a completely different thing. Also, it adds pleasurable or satisfactory experience. It can mean a lot of things, and we'll get into that later. The reason why Big Bad Wolf brought this up is because it always comes out. It always seems to be that at the root of a lot of decision making by women is their happiness. And I know some of you have heard the adage that men sacrifice their happiness for their family, women sacrifice their family for their happiness. Now, I don't know if it's true. I'm just putting it out there so people understand both sides of the potential argument or discussion or debate, however you want to. Because for some people, this is a discussion. For some, it's a debate, and some just want to argue. They don't want a resolution. Well, we are here to give you a resolution because I believe in doing all that. So I'm going to start asking our followers, our peoples, to start doing some self-awareness. As you can see, the title on this is the attachment report. Okay? I want everybody that's listening to go to that site and take the test. This test will take you 5, 6, maybe 10 minutes. I think is very vital. As I said last week, a lot of people are dating and they don't know enough about themselves, excuse me, to be dating. And I know people are going to say, well, why do I need to know about myself so I can date? I can be out here doing what I want to. Yes, you can. And that's probably why you have the results that you have. So it's not going to hurt you 10 minutes. Open up an account. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, like I said, other than 10 minutes. And get the results and understand what those results say about you. Nobody else, just you. Okay? Because it's going to, and we talked about this last week, and I'm going to delve deeper into this for my own personal understanding. At the root of this is your attachment style. David, I'm sure David can get into that. But like I said, for me, it was a revelation when I actually sat down and started to break it down and understood how this manifests itself in adulthood. And you're going to hear me say that an awful lot. So if I start to sound like a scratch CD or record, that's why. Because they say 1,000 times something needs to be repeated before it becomes, before you master it. 1,000 times you need to do something before it becomes mastery. So I want our listeners to become more educated about themselves. So, in addition to that, I came up with 3 questions that I want people to ask themselves of women. All right. First question is who, WHO, determines female happiness? All right. Second one is why does this individual or how, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm sorry. Why did this individual determine her happiness? And 3, when did this individual start to determine her happiness? Now, there's something else we all have to understand is over a woman's age, things are going to differ. And I think this is what a lot of men have problems understanding is they will say, well, 3 months ago was this and this is that, and I don't understand you. And you know what? You're right. You don't understand her. And chances are you probably never will. And I know that's unfair to men. But if you want to deal with the female gender, this is what you have to understand. That you might do something right today. You might turn around and do the exact same thing tomorrow, and it could be wrong. And guess what? It's going to be your fault. Once you understand that, you will be able to move better. You'll be able to accomplish the goals you want, and you'll get to a point, and I know this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive. You're going to get to a point where her feelings don't matter as much. I know. Coming from Uncle Ron, that's kind of harsh, but men have to get accustomed to certain things and baseline behaviors with women. And that is their feelings are fleeting. She could pick out a dress today, take it home and love it. And a week from now, she might hate it. That's just the nature of women. Understand that, and you'll be better off. All right? Now, I want people to understand for this particular discussion, I want you to take away all, not some, not most, all material things from a woman's life. So the Birkin bags, the cars, the house, the shoes, take them all away because they're panaceas. They don't make a woman happy. They don't. They're placeholders. Because how often do you see a woman that's out with a man that truly makes her feel safe? She's happy to be around him. She will do whatever he wants to, and she has none of that. You don't see that too often? That's probably because you're hanging out with the wrong people. Go somewhere where people are genuinely happy. They're all having a good time. You don't see all this high and stuff like that. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. You just don't see it like that. Now, I'm going to give you the answer to the question of those three things I just asked. A female's baseline behavior and actions are generally set by her father. Let that sit for a moment. Her father, not her mother, her father is going to determine her baseline behavior. The term daddy's little girl exists for a reason. So when you hear guys asking a female about her relationship with the father, that's why. They want to know, what kind of man was he? How did he provide for you? What did he provide for you? Because we have some men out here, and this is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, that think that providing, and women, don't run with this, please don't, think that providing financially is all he needs to do. We've all seen enough broken homes, enough damaged young women come out on the other side, and they are of no value, real value, to themselves. Heaven forbid if they have a child. Because now you have a woman who doesn't really understand what it means to be a woman. And what I mean by that is this: she doesn't understand that her value lies within her ability to reproduce good, functional children. Now, people are going to say, well, what's good, what's functional? We'll get to that too. Write that down. When we have kids, our responsibility as adults is to make sure that they reach adulthood with the ability to do at least as well as we have, or as well as we had, or better, especially as Black people, because we haven't always had. Now, we're not the only ones. There are what some people refer to as poor white trash who are in the same boat that we are, and they want to see their children prosper too. And that's all we ever want for kids. We want kids to grow up happy, healthy, and to get into the world and be able to do better. But if they only have a mother at home and not that functional father to give stability, to be the backbone, they're never going to be able to stand up right. They're going to slouch, they're going to lean, they're going to scowl. All kind of behaviors manifest itself that with the absence of a father, because that father's the backbone. He's the foundation. Look at your popular TV shows, and I'm going to go back about 20 or 30 years. Good times. What was always present until they wrote him out? James Evans. You look at the Jacksons. Without the father, that group probably doesn't materialize. Look at the Williams sisters. Without Richard, they probably aren't the world-renowned tennis players. And this goes on to fictional TV, the TV series Dallas, Dynasty. All of those were shows that were heavily patriarchal. Why? Because men usually set the tenor of a family. Very seldom does a woman ever rise to prominence like that by just working, because that's not a woman's job. A woman's job is to nurture. But if a woman grew up having to always struggle, having to always fight, she's never going to be in a condition mentally to be at ease. And I know a lot of Black women now are in that situation. I understand. Trust me, I do. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm done pointing fingers. I'm offering solutions. So what we have to do is we have to start recognizing what it is that puts a person in a certain category. It goes back to the attachment style. And men, go ahead, Dave.
When you said nurtured, a lot of things bounce in my head, and I think about this video that was posted in the counselor's corner where the dad was laying there with the baby, and I guess he was kissing her on the mouth, kissing her on the lips,
Mhm.
and people were like, "Oh, that's just too much." And then I commented, I said, "Is it any different from a woman, a mother doing that with the son, with her son, her baby boy?" And it's like, well, women are nurturers, and I think shout out to the youngest in charge, Shaughnessy, said we over sexualize everything, and we really do whatever. That if it get to the point that fathers can't touch their daughters or show them affection, I mean, and it was probably one of those things. The guy was just being silly and goofy and just kissing whatever, just showing the baby affection, but it was automatically turned into some freakish type of stuff. And like, fathers shouldn't have to be like, whoa, whoa, oh, you know, uh, like, yo, back off. And that's their child. Now, don't get me wrong. There is some sickos that will do things or sexually molest or whatever the children, but overall, I don't think many dads are not, they're not like that. But if this society is trying to push that, oh, don't show them no affection, then what the hell you think these girls gonna turn into if they
Mhm.
dad
Mhm.
never gave them a kiss or never hugged or embraced them for a while? Uh, and society said, oh, damn, he was holding her for a long time. That's his fucking child. That's his child. What do you think's gonna happen to that young girl when she gets older? She's gonna be cold. Like,
Yeah.
get away from me. I
Mhm.
don't do all that. I don't do all that. And it could be the guy like, I don't know, I just want to hold your hands, whatever. Like, hey, let's go get some ice cream, hold hands, walk through, laugh,
Mhm.
people watch. I don't do all that. I don't do all that. And like, damn, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You better be careful for the battles that y'all pick, and and the damage that you're doing when you say that. Because next thing is, oh, could you? And this is your husband, her father. Well, could you give her? Well, don't worry about getting her dressed. I'll give her a bath because what? He can't see his little 1 or 2 year old naked or whatever. Like some of the stuff, like is getting taken too far, whatever. And some guys be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Uh, I'm not dealing with it. And I know some of y'all might say, well, he shouldn't give up that easy, but you can't try to set a man up for anything like that, that he doesn't feel like, he can't give her a bath. He can't do this because, again, stuff is overly sexualized. And I think some of that probably is the mental aspect of that individual. And they probably went through some shit. And that's why they put that information out there. But if you eliminate and try to make all that come into existence, some guys are like, no, you go ahead, you got this. In fact, you do everything. I'm just gonna keep working, doing what I got to do, and make sure I put myself in positions that I don't have to put myself out there because I'm at risk. Type of shit is that for real, people? What type of, especially when it's the father of that child? Now it's a different story if it's again Melvin, Eugene, Tyrone, and all that stuff. Nah, yeah, they don't need to be doing all that. But the dad, unless you already know something about him, again, as her
Yeah.
uh, exuded to earlier, attachment styles unless you kind of know. But y'all the same people said it doesn't matter people's past. When I was always saying you need to know about these people's circumstances, how they grew up, what was their relationships, and oh, they ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't nothing to do with it. I don't, That ain't got shit to do with me. Damn idiot. A young fool becomes an old fool. And
Mhm.
that's just how it goes. Whatever things, the magic wand just don't uh, change things around. So that's where he at. It's
Yeah, and
amazing.
with the and correct me on the pronunciation of this. The Opidius complex, David. Is that what it is? Is that how it's pronounced?
It's the electric complex and Opidius complex, whatever. Like both of them are complexes.
Yeah. For those who don't understand those terms, one is an I want to correct word. It's an unnatural affinity for the parent of the opposite gender. The Opidius is for the males. The other one is for the females, and that goes to what David is saying. We have to, not need, we have to get out of that thought process. We have to stop targeting men who are trying to be affectionate with their children, whether it's a daughter or a son. Women, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire on this one. You guys are always complaining about men not opening up emotionally. If a man is not able to open up emotionally to his child, don't expect him to be able to open up to you. He can open up to his child. You know why? Because that child is never going to judge him. Never. Especially at that age. Why? They don't care. All they know is I'm in the arms of the strong man and he's going to protect me. So if that's what you want for your child, then you have to allow that for your child. There's no ifs, ands, no buts, no what ifs, nothing. Like David said, make sure, and David always says, KYP, know your personnel. So know who it is that you're dealing with. And this is go back to sexual discipline. Shout out to Victor. He's always talking about this. You gotta stop randomly fucking people. I know. Uncle Ron's here to tell you. Stop it. I don't care how you figure it out, when you figure it out, but before you start producing children, know who you fucking. Know everything about this individual. Everything that's humanly possible. Fellas, I'm gonna go back to the point I was gonna make earlier. You gotta know the chicks you dealing with. And this is gonna sound real harsh coming from Uncle Ron. But fellas, if she damaged goods, especially mentally, leave her alone. Yes, I know you want to put your needle on the record, especially if a record that's been played a lot. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying the outcome could be disastrous. Because if this female ends up conceiving and she got your child, she got you by the short curlies, and you on a roller coaster, buckle up. 5-point harness, buckle up. Because we putting out this information, and more than likely your father probably hasn't told you because your father didn't quite understand what he was getting into. And he's gonna say, hey, look, let me pull you aside, young man, and let me tell you about this. That Venus flytrap you're getting into, it kills. It kills. I never known any insect to get caught in a Venus flytrap and live. Now, that don't mean every female you come across is out to kill you. However, that does mean the wrong one, and we don't know which one's the wrong one. Why? Because something you do could trigger a latent feeling in her, and you got fireworks. And you gonna say, "Yo, she's never acted like that before." And somebody's gonna say, "Well, what happened?" You can run down the things somebody with a keen enough intellect is gonna say. Well, has this ever happened in her life before? And you know what your answer is probably going to be? I don't know. That's your job to know. Especially if you're doing ODB style, your job is to know. Your job is to know how that female's gonna react in every situation, every possible situation. I know I got people out there talking about I'm crazy. Ain't no way in the world that's possible. All right, hey, play that flute if you want to. I'm just saying, when you do and you hit a bad note, finish that song. Because there's never going to be any way possible that you are going to be able to understand that female the way she needs to be. Not you want to, but the way she needs to be understood. That's why women are always saying, you don't understand me. And you know what? They're right. They are absolutely right. I'm finding that out with some people that I've become closer with. I can never know enough about them to know how they're going to act in every situation. And there's a lot that goes into that. Trust me. I'm not saying you're going to become an expert on every woman that you deal with. I'm just saying the ones that you're messing with to that degree that she can get pregnant, those are the ones you're supposed to know the most about. Because those are the ones that can irrevocably change your life. Now, give me a second, Dave. I'll drop these and then I'll step off. Um, these are 5 questions people need to ask specifically to women about being happiness in life. Number 1, what does happiness mean to you? Ask her directly. 2, can happiness be measured? Is happiness the same for everyone? How has your definition of happiness changed over time? That's very important, very vital. And number 5, do you think happiness is a state, meaning a state of being, or a process?
Well, I mean, those are legitimate questions, and a lot of times people don't expect questions to come at them. So, they'll say, "Oh, you caught me off guard." But what's the point of getting to know each other unless unless you question each other? You ask questions, but I think a lot of times people feel uncomfortable with that process. But one of the things, I want to the emotional well-being of a woman, and this kind of ties in together. Like, where does she stand? What is her
Mhm.
emotions like? What has she been through? Uh, Self-love. You talk about self-love. Does she have any positive relationships in her life? And that would be shit, at the job, family, siblings, um, and then emotional expression. Has she been able to express how she feels? All of these things could uh, could develop into shit, a nightmare if it's not handled correctly. And again, when you think about self love, some words is are deep or phrases, and people just they see it on T-shirts and all that stuff, and they'll say, "Oh, I love myself" and all that, but they really don't understand what loving yourself means, and they'll talk it, but as a guy, you got to sit back and some things you may say. Mm. Uh, in self love, it's always thrown out there. Kind of how do you view yourself? How was you brought up? What are some of the you know your concepts that you believe in that ties in with self love? these are things that you have to think about. But when it comes to women's happiness, that's a sure way to figure out about their happiness. Because if they don't have any of that, if they're bitching and complaining or talking about, their childhood and all that, that right there is a red flag. And then positive relationships is key. You want to know how people could get along with others. If if someone says, "Yeah, I got three sisters, two brothers," well, how's your relationship? Uh, well, I talk to my one sister. The rest of I don't really talk to them. Is your mother and father still living? Yeah. Uh, Me and my mother, we all right, whatever. But I don't fuck with my dad. And you start seeing a pattern. You say, then you think about work. Well, I got to leave this job. These motherfuckers tripping or whatever, and they got a pattern of running from job to job. You and not only for men to figure out, but shit, friends of females, because y'all do a poor job. It didn't used to be like this, but now y'all co-sign everything. Everything. It's not nobody holding nobody accountable for anything.
Mhm.
You just can make a fool out of your damn self on social media, do this, wear that. And we talked about this the other week. Where's it gonna be the friends that say, take that shit down and stop getting on social media, or yo, don't even pull your phone out because my profession, I don't want to be associated with this. I don't want to be on camera with you because, again, I always talked about counseling 101. The great Dr. Pepper Largo said sometimes you got to hit people on the head to make them understand. So you may have to get raw. Like, well, why you don't want to be? No, I don't do that stuff with that. All that stuff you doing, don't put me on there with you because I'm a nurse. Shit, I'm a manager. I'm a teacher. I don't want to be in no videos with you doing that because you have to hold people accountable for their behavior. You can't co-sign, go girl, uh, do this, do that, and it's too much of that. Uh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just cut different, whatever. Because we used to hold people to the fire. Like, oh, somebody come out, what the fuck you got on? Yo, dude, you was acting like an asshole. You was acting like a jerk, or whatever the case is. But now it seems like people like walking on eggshells. Like if I say
Mhm.
this, then we're not going to be friends anymore. I would give two shits about that shit. If I can't speak how I feel and get that out, see your ass. But I do realize this too with women. Y'all hold on friendships for a long time. Y'all don't let them go. Guys, you might have a homeboy and all that, but guys know how to, nah, I don't mess with him no more and keep it moving and leave it at
Yeah.
that. Leave it at that. It ain't no big song and dance. I don't fuck with him like that. Shit, his ass don't work. He ain't trying to do nothing. He always asking for money, all that. I let that go because it's more of a hindrance without everything that you have going on in your mind. Yeah, women make excuses for people. Oh, that's only because this or that, or this or that. No, when you get older, sooner or later, you have to have a tolerance level and say, that doesn't fit my bill. I don't no longer want to partake in certain things. And you develop that emotional well-being for yourself. Like this doesn't work for me. And that contributes to a lot of happiness. I'm gonna pass it on to Uncle Ron. But there's other segments that we still have left, but I just wanted to throw those ones out there to give you understanding.
Yep, and I agree wholeheartedly. There are three things David just touched on that are at the center of female relationships and existence. Those things are in no particular order. Our people, things, and activities. Remember, I talked earlier about eliminating all other material things. Home. Give a woman a home, she's secure. Give a woman a family, she's really secure. Give a woman people that surround her and love her. You're going to find you a woman that's, by all intents and purposes, and dare I say, she's going to be happy. Those things, if those three things are fulfilled in a woman's life, stand a pretty good chance she's going to be okay. She's going to be tolerable. Now, I'm going to read something from the Paradox of Women. And I think this is a book. I printed it off for of course, the internet, but a PDF file. But this is the abstract, and I want people to pay very good attention to what I'm going to read. By many objective measures, the lives of women in the United States have improved over the past 35 years. Yet, we show the measures of subjective well-being indicate that women's happiness has declined both absolutely and relative to men. The paradox of women's declining relative well-being is found across various dissets, measures, and subjective well-being, and is pervasive across demographic groups in industrialized countries. Relative declines in female happiness, have eroded a gender gap in happiness in which women in the late 1970s typically reported higher subjective well-being than did men. Those declines have continued, and a new gender gap is emerging, one with a higher subjective well-being for men. Now, people are going to say, well, what the hell does all that mean? Well, let's go back to the 1970s, that decade of disco, bell bottoms, and polyester. What didn't you have a lot of? And I'll give you a few moments to think about that. What didn't exist then that does now? Female self-determination. In the 1970s, women weren't going to school, college, in the numbers that they are. Birth control wasn't readily available. They didn't get to stake out on their own after college and determine what their lives. They had some oversight. They had some safety protocols and measures in place to ensure that, hey, you getting out here in the world, and this world is a jungle. You better prepare yourself, because dad's not always going to be there to hold your hand. Mom's not always going to be there to cushion your fall. And you are going to have to learn to do some things on your own as an adult. Those things went around in the 1970s. So women, albeit, to the chagrin of feminism, have fewer options. Generally speaking, with fewer options, you have less opportunities to choose wrong. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if you go into a store and you got to buy a pair of sneakers and you got two kinds of sneakers to choose from, you will just say, oh, this is easy, one or the other. However, and like we make this relative to women, if you walk into a shoe store and you need a pair of black heels and they got 100 styles of black heels to choose from, you can be there all day choosing. From leather to pleather to plastic to man-made materials, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3.5 stilettos, wide heel, narrow heel. And this is the paradox that a lot of women are stuck with. Too many decisions, too many options. And by the time you settle down and pick one, guess what? Half your life has passed you by. I talked about age and how that manifests itself in this decision. The same things that you wanted at 20, you're not gonna want at 30. The same things you want at 30, you certainly aren't gonna want at 40. And the things that you want at 50, don't even excuse me,
Push.
don't even register. It just doesn't. Whew.
Push.
So there's a lot on the plate. A lot on the plate that women have to choose from. That should be the last one. There's a lot on the plate that women have to choose from. And if you don't have good stewards who have helped you along the way to streamline that process, you are never, quote unquote, going to get it right. And that, ladies, that's a frightening prospect. But that's the prospect that you have.
Yeah, you know, you shift into personal growth and fulfillment. Another component that makes women happy. So you think about pursuing passions. Is this person passionate about anything? What does she talk about? Does she say, bring up certain things and she say, man, I can throw down in the kitchen. I love to cook. Um, I thought about getting into culinary and all that. Well, go ahead, do it. Make it happen. Uh, but somehow she comes to an impasse and it never happens because the one thing, you know, when we talk about certain things that we're passionate about, sooner or later you have to do it. Or
Yeah.
if not, it's going to be a regret. And, or you see other people doing it and you're like, damn, I was talking about that shit. Or you shared it with someone, your friend, they end up doing it. Now
Mm,
they got their uh culinary thing. Now they cater and shit. And it's legit. It's real. Got certification and all that stuff. Or, you know, again, we could go back to nursing and all of that stuff. Now they're progressing and they're in the RN program and you stuck. You're still in the LPN program, but shit, things ain't looking too positive for you. So if you have passions, you got to do it. You got to make it happen some way, somehow. Because other than that, it's just going to be resentment built up inside you, especially if it's something you talk about on a regular basis. Uh, Personal development. How do you develop? Well, people go to they could go back to school, and they could get training. Some people they could do it religious wise or do things in the community. What are you doing personally to develop yourself? Because it just can't be. Oh, well, I go to work. I come home, take care of the kids. You got to do something
yeah.
um, to have fulfillment for yourself. And that's what I always speak on. Stop posting all your kids shit. Your ass need to do something. I don't want to see no first grade report card. I want to see your 50-year-old ass made the dean's list or whatever the case is because it's easy for kids to get uh all A's and stuff in elementary. I ain't did nothing. All you gotta do is sit there. And if you got a good they got good parental support and they know if they cut a fool, they gonna get their ass whooped. They gonna be right in school. But then things change because of obstacles. When you go from elementary to middle school, then middle school to high school, things happen. And then when you get to college, shit, it's a whole bunch of stuff around. So I don't be impressed with that stuff. Uh, What I want to see is the same parents posting that. What have you done professionally to improve yourself? What certifications have you got, and what have you did to say, shit, I'm proud of it. But also, in this day and age, we don't know what's real or not because of AI. We don't know. We don't know who's in the lab writing papers, MLA style, and all that other shit. Uh, who's done it for them? And so some of that is fool's gold too. But I think that shows up when you get to the job, and you always had AI and other people doing your stuff. But then when you get to the practical part, like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, and people are benching and stuff, and you're like, shit, the fuck they talking about? Well, you should know this. You're a straight A student. So that's the another dilemma. And achieving goals. You set yourself out to do something, you gotta get it done. You gotta get it done. You gotta be a competitor. And people say, "Oh, I don't want to compete against you." Newsflash: always in competition. No matter what you do, you're always in competition. You've been in That's they don't come up with quote sibling rivalries for nothing. That means one of the siblings, you trying to be the top dog. Some people trying to be in good graces of their parents. Oh, don't worry about him, whatever. We all the same age, but could I get the car or whatever? Yeah, he or she gets the car. They got good grades. They're more responsible. Yeah, you got the keys. You always in competition. So when people are, I don't compete with nobody. I don't know what the fuck you doing because, as far as I know, we always in
Yeah.
competition with someone, no matter what. We don't have to promote it, but you always in competition. And many of us, you might be in competition with your homegirl or homeboy
Mhm.
because they talk so much shit, and you like, oh, I damn sure got to do that. But you ladies are, nah, we don't do that. Stop fucking lying all the time. As far as that, you're in competition, and they trying to one up you and show you. That's why social media is the way it is, because you got the small-minded people always trying to one up somebody. Remember,
Mhm.
Biggie and them said, "Real G's move in silence. You don't know what the
Mhm.
fuck I got going on. You don't know what I got going on because I don't got to advertise it, but I'm good and I'm happy." Another segment. Go ahead, Uncle Ron.
I'm right in his back pocket. I'm gonna tell you, ladies. No one ever said growing up for you was gonna be easy. As a matter of fact, it's infinitely harder than it was for your mother, and your grandmother has absolutely no idea of what this time is like for women your age. You know why? Because she's never had to endure it. Peer pressure, peer pressure for her was going to find a husband and have kids. That's it. Peer pressure for you, going out, finding a man and not having kids. Going to college, trying to make the dean's list, trying to stay out of too much debt, trying not to contract an STD, trying not to get pregnant, trying to keep your, and I talked about this last week, trying to keep your personal, your professional, and your public image intact while not posting on social media, as David said. Now, we know for women, social media is addicting. Got to have it. It's like the big bad wolf in his Ciroc. Got to have it. That's not Ciroc, by the way. Just want people to understand that. Disclaimer. Got to have it. You have to find, and dare I say it, a happy medium. You have to find something that's going to allow you to reach and maximize your full potential in the lane that you chose. So if you chose to be a single mother, unfortunately, and I don't emphasize chose, if the events you selected have led to that outcome, then that's an outcome you got to try and maximize. Don't compound it by having multiple. I know. I'm just an Uncle Ron giving you some information. One's bad enough. One is manageable. You can do that. People are willing to help you out. They really are, despite what you might think. But don't compound it. Compounding only works well with interest. All right. So surround yourself with people who are going to help you. Don't compound your errors and excel in that lane. When you do those things, and you do most of them privately, you don't make yourself a target. Notice that a lot of what women have, a lot of women struggle with, is the negative attention from other women. Yes, it comes from men, but not nearly as bad as it does other women. And I can prove that to you. If you were to go outside looking less than your stellar self physically, who's going to talk about you more, a group of women or a group of men? I'll give you one guess. And it ain't that group of men. Why? Because a group of men is going to see past you. They're going to be like, you know what? I see she's looking a little rugged, but you know what? She got some qualities that I might like to invest in, whatever those qualities are. I've seen TikToks and videos of women talking about they go out, rush into the grocery store, and they get hit on by 4 or 5 men. Why? Because a man seeing you in your natural element, he's going to be more attracted to that than you throwing on a pound of makeup, fake eyelashes, some tanner, bronzer, and all that stuff, and just stepping out to look your best. Because anybody can look their best when they're trying to. But can you look good when you just you, when you wake up out of bed, when you just get a cup of coffee and you grab and go? Can you be attractive then? Can you be desirable then? Can your natural element say, hey, this is me. I don't need all that fluff. I don't need a boatload of makeup. I don't need the Louis bag. I don't need the Versace glasses. I don't need the high-end car. I'm cool with just being me. And then people wonder why. Somebody like Jeff Bezos goes out and gets a wife who doesn't look like anybody thinks that a man of his stature should. They think he should have a trophy wife, the perfect dime piece. And they say, man, you know, that chick homely. She don't look like anything. Why would he be with her? You know why? Because she makes him happy. See, this is going to get kind of vulgar. She sucks him the way he wants to be. She fucks him the way he wants to be. And if she cooks and prepares food the way he wants it done, and she doesn't bother him. She's not looking to do all that, be all that. She understands her role. And I know that's going to piss some people off, but hey, everybody has a role to play. The queen protects the king rules. But hey, you know, if you want to set it up to be the inverse where you rule, then you have to understand everything goes through you. So if the peasants ain't happy, it's your fault. You don't get to blame Jermaine. Why? Because you wanted the role reversals. You wanted to swap. So now you can't say anything about the king being lazy and being taken care of because that was usually the queen's role. So, thus the paradox. I read earlier. There's going to be some things that you have to walk away from. There are going to be some things that you have to say no to. There are going to be some things that you absolutely, categorically are not going to had the option of exploring. And you know what? You have to reconcile yourself with that. You have to say, you know what? When I was 23, they was calling me Pearl. Why? Because I was sitting at the middle of the oyster. I could have picked any man I wanted to. I could have went anywhere and did anything I wanted to. I could have been a model, had a body like Marilyn Monroe. I could sing like Mariah Carey. I could act like Angela Bassett. You know what? I chose to marry that man and bear four of his kids, and I'm okay with that. That's the reality that you have to face. Those are the choices you have to make. Is it going to be easy? No, not at all. You have to leave something on the table. What it is, I don't know. That's not for me to tell you. That is for you to understand that when you get to be 60, you're going to look back and you're going to say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with the decisions I've made. I'm okay with the life I have because I have four well adjusted kids. I got some grandkids. I don't want for money. My husband or my partner, and I can't stand that word. I just use it because it's been accepted. He treats me well and he makes me happy enough to where I don't want for anything. That that people, that really should be the ultimate goal. But for some people, it isn't. And I don't know why. That is a that is a question that I do not have an answer for.
Well, I don't want to butcher the name. Hare Monica. She said, "I like this convo." And that's what we try to have, a flowing conversation about real life where we don't pick up on hot topics and try to we ain't gonna probably never have the most likes and most views and all that. But I bet you when I send a clip and people be looking at it and it's a talking point, you're like, damn, that shit hit home. We hit home runs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. A lot of people they look for singles and doubles. I'm hitting you on your head. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make some impact. You're like, whoa, the fuck did he just say? Uh, so again, to carry on with women's happiness, physical and mental health, self care. What do you do to take care of yourself? It can't be. Let me get this right. Let me get this right. I don't know why y'all think that shit is so cute and all that. Can't be, oh, I got my nails done and you got fucking nails and they curving like you on Halloween and shit. Um, and doing all that. If that's what floats your boat, but for real, that ain't making you look no better, no prettier, no, I don't know. I'm like, is this shit a masquerade what we going through? Self care, whether it's time that you find time for yourself, just reading a book, or you get simple things done. Because remember, less is more. Less is always going to be more in certain situations. And you might go to a spa, might get a massage, might go shopping, and not blowing up an account, but just like, I just want to get a nice shirt. And you take your time to, or a nice pair of shoes, and you take your time to do it. You do it. Uh, those are some of the things that, with self care, whether getting your hair done and stuff. Because for me, I get self care done every couple weeks. Like I don't. Well, if I want my beer, I can try to line up my beer right, but I still go. I've been going to before my brother used to cut my hair, and then
Feature, yeah.
yeah, and then I finally stepped into a barber, which was awkward, but I've been having the same barber for, I don't know, 10, 11, maybe 12 years. I don't even know how long it's been, but I go there like tomorrow. I go there. Sometimes we talk shit about sports, and sometimes me and him, we don't say nothing. He just said, "What's up?" I get in the chair, and when he said when
That's
he
it.
leaned back, he's like, "Man, you got a lot of trust in me." Yeah, I do trust you. I'll be knocked out. And he got the razor on me and all that. But he's been doing this for like 12 years of my life. So, but that's self care to me. Uh, that's the time that I hear all these, because in my nature of business, not in my professional job, but the other things that I do, author, uh, podcaster, a lot of good conversations come out at the barbershop. So when I'm on one and I'm alert, I feel like these dudes, wow, they throw a lot of stuff out there, and I enjoy it. But to go back to women, and I know Greg says something. His ass has something to say. I listen to C2 on Monday nights, since hearing a Buffalo fan makes me feel so much better about so better about myself. But again, and shout out to Greg for always joining in and adding his feedback. Because trust me, your feedback is valuable.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
valuable. But self care, body positivity, that shit is huge with women. Because guys, you can be a fat ass. You can be a fat ass with a bunch of money. You don't give a damn. You can pull somebody.
I just ain't
You
got the money.
can and that's what we try to tell you, that guys could be 47, they could start coming into their own. But when their accounts start hitting right, shit, it's a different confidence level. Yeah, dismiss your ass
Mhm.
with the quicks. Get your ass out of here. And you could be that same person growing up that, damn, he used to salivate over, but now, get your broke ass out of here. Like, shit, I'm a six figure. I'm well in my six figures, mid six figures almost. I'm making this much. I'm doing this. I ain't about to hear that. And then sometimes it becomes a humbling experience for some. But women, yeah, body positivity is it's a reason why people have those waist trimmers, the different things like that, because you don't feel confident in yourself. It's a reason why, you know, the hairdos, the eyelashes, and some of y'all do a horrible job with the fucking eyelashes that look like spiders. Like, let that shit go for real. They do a horrible job with that. But those are some of the things when you talk about physical and mental health that makes you feel happy. And people are like, oh, I know. It's just something I like to do, whatever. But if you got a guy that's real and he confident in himself, he gonna tell you, I don't like this. Like, stop doing that shit. Some guys, oh baby,
Yeah.
I'll pay for it. I'll do whatever. Such and such. Oh, how much it would cost? Fucking tricky Dick Dawson, simp ass, whatever. See, I grew up. My family critical, so uh, if you go back in the words of Herb, quoting movies, and I always quote like black movies that I watch, and and you think about Poetic Justice, and you think about Chicago and Lucky, and it was one scene in Chicago was like, Janet, I'm trying to say her name, but what's her name? Justice, and then Isha and all, and they was like, who is that? Who is that? Oh my God! Like, okay, he can rap, whatever. And Chicago said at the end, he alright. Cousin Khalil, his music. He alright. It's alright. That's me. It's alright. It's alright. I'm gonna throw that out there or whatever, just to mess with you. It can be good as hell, but I'm just gonna throw it
Yeah.
out there. Like it's all right. Like it ain't all that. It's alright. And
You know what?
some of that
Go ahead. I'm
stuff,
sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
some of that dictate on how people move, whatever. So I don't even know how I'm trying to tie this in together at some point, but go ahead.
No,
Go
it does. It's funny because, matter of fact, I didn't take any pictures at my brother's birthday party, and I probably should have. No, actually, that's not correct. I took some with my brothers. I didn't take any of myself. I don't choose to want to look at myself in this kind of physical condition. Now, with that being said, I don't lack the confidence. Okay. I had my 290-pound ass on the floor. Get it in. I was cutting up the rug a little bit.
Oh, where's the video footage of this shit? Where is it at? Who has it? What were you doing out there?
As a matter of fact, you can ask Nuki. Nuki was there. She was the MC. You can ask Nuki. You can ask Nuki. So, yes, I was getting it in. Now, with that being said, women, time is not your ally, especially when you hit your first menstrual cycle. Why? Let me explain it to you. After high school, that junction between 6th grade and 12th grade, if you are not into athletics, more than likely, that is going to be your physical peak. Okay? Understand that. So, let's say you graduate high school, you're 140 pounds. Height doesn't matter. 17, 18. In the next decade, if you gain 30 pounds, more than likely you are not going to lose it. 30 pounds on a woman is a tremendous amount of weight. You're going to suffer all kinds of medical issues, internal, external. Your confidence is going to take a hit. This is why a lot of y'all start turning to filters, makeup, eyelashes, as David was talking about, because you're compensating for the lack of physical. Think about this. In high school, you weren't wearing that stuff. Why? Because you was it. You was prom queen, runner up. You ain't need that. Perky breast, firm ass. Shit. You could put on a bedspread and you have fellas who's trying to track you down. That was when time was on your side. Like I said, after high school, if you hit college and you're lucky, you might do a little bit of something. You might walk around the track once in a while, but you ain't doing all that sweating. The only time you probably sweating is when you getting that record played. That's the extent of your physical activity. So that sets you up for physical failure. Now, I'm not here to bang you. I'm just here to tell you how your life potentially is going to go. So if you start to have kids, you get married, and you're not doing anything, yeah, you're in a long haul. You're like a tractor trailer going uphill, and you can't get out of first gear. And you got to haul all this around with you. This is why it's important, as David talked about, men having friends, men being able to be around each other, not say a whole lot, do a whole lot. We drive each other. Because I remember seeing Dave at his sister's birthday party. I was pissed. I didn't tell Dave this, but he's looking better than I was. I was like, hey, this motherfucker.
Talk about what? The last one?
Yeah. Because we were supposed to wear green. I didn't get the memo. I was like, ain't this some shit? I was like, all right. I did next one.
I told you what the deal was. I told you what the
I don't
deal
remember, though. I don't remember because I saw the boss like, damn. It's like, all right, cool. he got me this one. But it's a competition. It's a competition between brothers from different mothers because we understand that at the end of the day, we can sit down, we could talk about anything, sports, we could talk about politics, we could talk about academia. And a lot of you women, you don't have that. And I know what people say that men don't have friends. No, that's not true. We don't have a lot of friends. We have solid friends. We have friends that if we need something, we can call. We need, kick something, we can chit chat. We can go months without speaking to each other. Matter of fact, I did that when I went to New York City last year with my homegirl. I ain't seen my man in years. It was like we ain't never met. I mean, we had never skipped a beat. And I talk about being in his dorm on the campus of Buff State. Those are the type of things that bind you to people. But women, for whatever reason, y'all don't do that.
Popularity
And
contest.
I can't figure that out. Go ahead, Dave. What'd you say?
Popularity contest, whatever. Want to
Yeah.
be in this and be in that instead of saying, yo, I only got 4 or 5 solids or that I deal with. That's it. And like Herb said, I don't want to cut off your segment, but the competition level is at a different level. Man, you first started up when you was talking about the hat game. And you was like,
Oh
oh, you
yeah.
got hats, whatever. And we, it was never no big thing, but yeah, it's just spitefulness, whatever. Like some of the shit carry on to from middle school that y'all as grown ass people in a small town don't like each other from middle school or junior high because of certain situation.
Yeah.
Guys, you find other ways. Like, okay, you was better than me in sports, but now I'm an engineer. Your ass at Wigman's, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You find other ways to come on top, but you don't let that consume you. And be a, but again, women say a lot of wishy-washy things. Oh, I don't, I don't compete. I don't do this. I dress for myself. Bullshit. Bullshit. When you step out, you stepping out because if you don't want to impress somebody, then you can stay your ass at home and pretend like you got a event going on.
Yeah.
But when if you want to step out, you want to look good for somebody or something. You representing something. You representing something. Because other than that, why even carry on? Like shit. To me, shit, I want to smell good. I want to be color coordinated. And it may be for myself, but damn, in my mind, I'm like, shit, somebody, and not that I'm trying to pick up somebody, but you just want to kind of spread it, like, damn, who is that? like, like, like they doing their thing. So for when people say, oh, I don't do this for that, I just for myself, then why get all extra to go out
Yeah.
if you're just doing it for yourself? Craziness.
You know what? On the heels of that, um, for the women, this is strictly for women. For those of you who are interested, and I sincerely, and I mean interested in understanding why you behave the way you do in certain circumstances, I'm gonna hook you all up. BGS, shout out to the master teacher. He has a series called the Octane series. I don't know if we'll do it on here as a two, maybe a 3-part series, or if you're interested, I could do this in the counselor's corner I can start posting them out. And what the Octane series is this. The Octane series represents classes of people, male and female, but they're different. And I won't deal with the male because the male generally there's not really much of a problem with the male classes. Males understand where they fit in the hierarchy. Women tend to not understand as well as the men. So it starts its way down from 85 all the way up to 100. And what is predicated on is the numbers are predicated on gas. So you ever pull up to a pump, you see 87 octane, 89, 88, 89, 92, 100. Okay, those are representative of the classes. The higher the octane go, the purer the fuel. But like I said, those are representative of classes. I think when women understand this, now it's not going to eliminate the cattiness. That's an intrinsic trait among women. But when women understand this, it'll make their navigation of female hierarchy and structure a little easier. This is why I was talking about knowing yourself. We've done the Teal Swan cube test on here. If you've never heard of that, I would advise you to go do that as well. As get a diary, write in it every day. The attachment report. Hey, the more you know was always a slogan by NBC. I am a proponent of that. You can never know enough about yourself. And when you know yourself, inside out, upside down, backwards, forwards, from the convolutions to your synapses, when you know yourself, you become unshakable. So you don't need the external validation. You understand your flaws. You say, okay, you know what? I need to hit the gym. I need to hit the treadmill. So you're going to find that group of those females who do that. Or if you can't find that group of females who do that, you can say, you know what? I can't find somebody, so I got to do it myself. I have to become self-reliant in the world that doesn't seem to appreciate female validation. And you know what? You might very well be right. Because there's a lot of women who've accomplished a lot of things that don't get the recognition that men do. Sorry to tell you. It's not much I can do about it. What I will say is this: keep moving forward. Put that in your diary. You want to accomplish this, set your baseline, and get to it. And this is where I think, especially for women who struggle, having a good having a good male friend is beneficial. People always talk about male-female relationships and how they become beneficial to each other. This is how. If you know you need a push to work out, go find a male that's going to call you. Yeah, he might come by, might text you till you get text you till he gets a reply. You got a routine. Matter of fact, I about 10 to 15 minutes of some light cardio about 7:30 because I need to get my big ass moving. Now, I didn't do a whole lot. I was dancing to the hustle, Jerusalem, some shadow boxing. The important thing was movement. And I got some in today. I'm going to get some in tomorrow. I'm going to accomplish this 80-pound weight loss that I've been talking about.
Well, you know, I gotta be the instigator.
Yes.
Are you going to order that pizza order tonight?
I haven't ate today. You know what? No pizza tonight. But I have to. You know, the funny thing about me doing a daytime fast, which is how I initially lost the 35 pounds last year. I wasn't eating, but on my days off, it skews everything because when I get to work, and I would actually be on. Usually, I would be on my way to work. My shift starts at 11. I would eat between 12 and 2. I always try to make sure I eat between 12 and 2. That way, when I get home, I'm on an empty stomach. So when I go to sleep, I'm not sleeping on any food. That's the biggest problem that I have with being off on Monday night. So normally, pizza and wings wouldn't be a problem because I eat that during the day. I'm Gucci. I eat that at night. It's like a lead weight in my stomach, and I just like I'd be like what's it, Chris Rock in New Jack City. It just be gone. But no, I'm not gonna order tonight. Matter of fact, as we're sitting here getting into the wee moments of the show, I'm trying to consider what I should eat, and I just don't know. Any suggestions, anybody?
No suggestions on my part. I don't know because I didn't eat it,
I
so
got
I
some
got
ground turkey. I got some ground turkey. I don't have any vegetables. And you know what? I was at the store today. I had to make a run to even up some things. I should have bought some vegetables. I was thinking about some stir fry tonight, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. But whatever it is, it can't be a lot. And that's the problem that I run into because I'm hungry as hell right now. I can eat 20 wings sitting, eat a couple slices of pizza, and I'd be like, okay, I got my calorie quota for today. But it's hard. I'll be the first to tell you, losing weight is hard.
we
But
won't know. We won't know if you do it, whatever, unless you put in your order before we go off, like you often do.
well, no, Sammy's closes at midnight.
uh,
But I no, I I don't know what I'm gonna eat tonight. Um, I don't have anything thawed. Well, actually, that's not true. I have a pound of ground turkey thawed. Um, I've been making my spaghetti sauce from scratch, so I don't have any spaghetti sauce. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll drop some uh I don't know, possibly some stuffed shells. Um, just dry with some, I don't know.
he,
I don't know.
he's so funny. Better make you some
No, I'm serious, man. Because
make
this
you
is
some
no.
damn burgers or something. Put it on some bread and call it a night.
Ah, see, that's my problem. I like to cook,
Uh,
so it just plain stuff doesn't really it doesn't do it for me. I think the older I've gotten, the more my palate has become refined. But I realize that for the time that I spend cooking, it's just easy to pick up the phone and get some wings and pizza. I mean, because I don't do anything else. So I mean, I'm not out here running around in the clubs. I'm not out here abusing alcohol. I might drink alcohol on a twice a month. So my guilty pleasure is junk food, women, and video games. I'm dealt with a female in years. Uh, Video games I put up. So the only thing I got is my junk food. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna have to eat. I know I got some hamburger helper sitting on top of the refrigerator. I might do that. But like I said, it's just a mix of noodles, the ground turkey, ground. I think this is ground turkey, ground chicken, pretty much the same as far as I'm concerned. The difference though is that ground turkey holds seasoning very well. So um that's the thing. Now, what I would like is chili. My only problem is I use dry beans and I can't flash cook them that quick. I just never developed the ability to do that. So, hey, when you cooks out there, if you want to tell me the secret to cooking beans, dry beans, real quick, I'll be more than appreciative.
and when you speak of chili, that's crazy. Chili probably is one of my top three favorite foods. Chili is so good. It's probably I mean, I know sometimes it's not probably not a summer thing or whatever, but chili,
Chili, chili.
because that was part of our root regiment growing up, whatever, and our rotation. My mother would make chili, uh, but now it's different ways that you make it. Where you when you get it, you're throwing some sour cream, some cheese, crackers, and all that stuff. So things have advanced, but chili is shit. It's probably my top three favorite things to eat.
Matter, no, it's got to be spicy. It's got to be spicy, Greg. Chili that ain't spicy. Mm-mm. I want it to burn coming out. I want it to burn.
Mm, mm, mm. Too much.
And you know what the funny thing about that is, man, I love me some crushed red pepper, boy, and crushed red pepper. Crushed red pepper be like, I got the flamethrower. We gonna have a party.
Mm. You sure?
Woo, man, but yeah, it's got to be hot, man. And you know what the funny thing about spicy food was, I really, as a younger kid, I never Tabasco hot or Tabasco or hot sauce. Never ate that stuff. It wasn't till I, without giving away too much, it wasn't till I dated this female from a specific ethnicity that I got into spicy food. Gotta never look back. That spicy is good, man. I will say this, and this is for anyone. If you want to start to eat spicy foods, I would tell you start off with curry dishes and be light with the curry, and then just step your way up. You go from curry to cayenne pepper, which is at the basis of red hot, and do move work your way up. Jalapeno peppers, you put them in cilantro. If you like your nachos, that's what I should have got tonight. That would have been real fucking good. Oh my gosh. Um, Cilantro and just a smattering of red peppers in there. Or if you don't want to cut them up, put all the stuff in a blender and you can puree it. That way you get the sensation, but um you don't get it in a dose. It's almost um it's almost drinking something that you don't like. You never really tasted. Queso, absolutely. Yep. Yep. Queso, yeah, queso dip is really good. I mean, all that stuff. It's unless you're born into that culture of eating spicy foods, it's a gradual process. Nobody's in the United States unless you're Mexico, you're Hispanic descent, probably eats that stuff like, excuse me, like that. So yeah, it's a step process. But I'll let you guys know what what I end up eating tonight. Um, and I just might order. I might get a couple quesadillas, something light. Might get a grilled chicken salad, vegetables. I don't know. I really don't know. And I just might, I just might eat that pound of um ground turkey I got, some noodles, throw some butter on there, and I got some cheese that I could grate up. Yeah, call it a night. Sit back and watch a movie. Get some more show notes for whatever show we're gonna do next week. Oh, like I said, if ladies, even if y'all don't want to do the octane on the show, I can walk you through the octanes in a group. So, and this is for anyone who's listening to it live or listening to it later. We can set up a date in 2 or 3 days, 3 hours, and walk you through the octane series. Because, like I say, And I have to acknowledge what BGS does because he's been doing it for so long, over a decade. He puts this information out for free. Some of this stuff, and I kid you not, it's college level stuff, and it could be a master class, and he could teach it like that if he wants to. He doesn't. So when I talk about the things that he does, it's with the thanks and the gratitude that he doesn't charge for the stuff because he can make a mint. I mean, honestly, he can make a mint with some of the stuff. And the Octane series is no different. When we get done with that Octane series, you ladies will understand things about yourself and female nature. This is why I try and expose our listeners to the people that I listen to. So when I talk about Cousin T Talk, when I talk about the Diary of a CEO, Lewis Howes, all those people, these are all the people that I listen to when I'm at work and when I'm coming up with show ideas and show content. Matter of fact, there's a lady here, Sonia Limbrowski. I think that her last name is, and I'll spell the last name for you. It is Lyncbosky. She's psychology and a philosophy of happiness. So plug that name into the YouTube search engine. She should come up. She was one of the individuals I was listening to when I was talking about some of the things that I was. And she got into the nitty gritty and she talked about some things that I'm going to bring to you guys. This is why I like this because, like Dave said at the top of the broadcast, we don't talk about the sexy items, pardon the pun. We talk about the brick and the mortar, the things that you can build your foundation on, the things that's going to make you a better person, the things that's going to make you a solid husband, wife, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin. Somebody's going to say, yo, go to such and such. They always got the ideas. They always seem to know. They always seem to have a grasp. That's why. I mean, all that other stuff, celebrity news, celebrity gossip. We're not telling you not to partake in that. That's fine. But if you're looking to advance your understanding, if you're looking to advance your standing, if you're looking to become a better, more well rounded, sharper person, then we where you want to be at. Ain't no other place. This is why we go head to head with Monday Night Football because we understand somebody's got to do it. We elect to do it.
Definitely, because it's heat up right now with Denver and the Clippers, and for the New York Knicks fans, we took an L tonight. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, we about to close it out soon. I gotta go back to work. Oh my God! But that's one of the things too. When you get older, you contemplate and you try to. When you talk about happiness, how you free yourself up for certain things, how you control your own destiny, and how you always try, how you want to bring in income, leaving one profession and going to something else. You always want to make it a win-win,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to start thinking about that. None of us are getting any younger, and we have to strive, and we have to do. And for the ones who've been striving and coming up on government benefits and all that, that shit ain't gonna be there.
Right.
And you're gonna have to face a dilemma. And even like taxes and all that stuff. A lot of things is going on. It's crazy. But the one thing for myself, in a couple months I'll be the double nickel. I say to myself,
All
I want to control my own fate with certain things. Of course, I want to deal with people. I'm gonna have to deal with people, but I don't want to have to deal with massive people, multiple people. As I go on, less is more, and I'll put that on a T-shirt. The less people I have to talk to, the better off it is. Because I'm done talking. Now I'll talk at our forum and all that stuff, but on a day-to-day basis, I'm done talking. But I did want to say this. We talk about physical, we talk about self-care, body, positivity, mental health. Make sure you're around solid people. Solid people when you're in a trouble spot. That's critical because a lot of times people see what's going on social media. That's the only thing a lot of people gauge everything by. And they don't understand. A lot of that shit is fool's gold. People gonna post what's good. They're not gonna post a eviction notice. They're not gonna post that the repo man was looking for them. They're not gonna post that they got a dismissal letter from a college program. They're not gonna post that their kid was suspended for 10 days, whatever. They're not gonna post that. So they're only gonna post highlights of their life that look good. Don't get consumed up in that because shit, all you got to do is keep your eyelids open and you'll know and listen what's going on in that area. That a lot of that shit is fake. Not that I'm trying to expose people that's fake, but I just want individuals to say, don't get caught up in other people's stuff. Be who you are. Uh, Focus on what you do. Find your craft and keep pushing and keep pushing. If you're gonna fail, you got to pick yourself up. But what you don't want to do is keep looking side-eyed and worried about what the next person doing. Again, a lot of this shit is fool's gold. Definitely fool's gold. That's another point, and then we can close it out. Societal and cultural factors, equality and empowerment. Women, of course, want to feel they want their voices heard. They want equality. They want empowerment. But who do you want it from? That's the key thing. Who do you want it from? Do you want it at the job? Do you want it in the household? Because you could get with a partner and say, "Hey, you're in charge of this sector. I'm in charge of this sector," or we work together uh, with interdependency and we figure it all out. You got to be willing to. The one thing you got to be willing, and I'm gonna say this, and yeah, I might not take it the wrong way. Men, not all men, guys that just yabble dabble with all that shit. I don't know. That's a different gender. But some men know their deficits, so they don't. They pick and choose their battles and say, "I don't know about that. Argue about that shit. I don't know nothing about it." Some of y'all women think y'all know everything. Y'all know everything. You argue, man, about sports. You argue about fucking auto mechanics. You argue. Understand that. Know your strength and what you could add to a conversation or just a knowledge piece. And like I said, many things I'm like, I'm not gonna argue. I'll I'll throw some out there about sports and educational. This is stuff I've done. But understand that when it comes to equality and empowerment, you gotta pick and choose your battles. Uh, Greg said young punks. Community and support. Yeah, you as a woman, you want to be that figure around the community. Everybody say, "Oh, that's such and such." You want to be that voice. You want to be able to step in the middle of the block and everybody traffic stop. But it's based on credibility. How do you get to that point? But if you are at that point, definitely it's going to bring happiness because it solidifies who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in. You got to keep pushing. Got to keep pushing. I'm just trying to wrap this up because I know I'm separate. I'm in between Herb and his lasagna double wing. I said lasagna. That used to be one of my favorite foods too, but I don't know. Suddenly it's not. But go ahead, Herb. We're gonna close it out. That was my closing comment. We're gonna get ready to close it
Uh
out. I never want to stop somebody from getting their eat on.
huh. Freedom is a weapon, and in the hands of the untrained, it can cause more damage than people realize. This is the greatest problem that women are facing. For the first time in human history, women are the freest they have ever been. That freedom comes with a price, and that price for many is their happiness. Freedom in the hands of the unlearned is the equivalent to a firearm in the hands of the untrained. Napoleon once said, "Nothing is more precious, therefore more important than the ability to decide." Decisions made in the absence of pertinent and relevant information generally lead to poor outcomes. Enough poor outcomes over time will lead to a problem that women are facing. They have a kaleidoscope of choices and no real understanding of when and sometimes why to choose what. Why is this? No oversight. Now, for some, now that the realities, I'm sorry, now that the realities of this is showing pitfalls, people are lacking for answers when they're right in the hands of the people who are the decision makers. The only problem the decision makers really don't know is what to do. Happiness is fleeting, particularly for women. It's like a summer breeze on a hot day. It never exists long enough. When the temperature drops and you have material items in an unpaid house with a higher than debt to income ratio and very limited options that will fulfill you, past thought surface of what should have been. Time passed you by, and these options you once had as a 20 something are no longer available to you. The friends in that zone have wedded and more minimal women and created family and enjoying the sun and are enjoying the sunset with them. Don't let the sun set on you before you get what you want. That's my closing.
So there you have it. It's a lot. And we never really get a resolution on any of this. We like to throw stuff out there. I hope people can grab it and we build on it. There's nothing wrong to say, hey, reach out to any of us to say, hey, yeah, I talked about this point, but y'all didn't go into it. I want to go further. We're more than willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something you believe in and you think it's worth talking, we're gonna go deeper. We're gonna go deeper because it's only gonna make us better in the end. And it's and again, it's not that it's gonna rule the world, but all it's take is one, two, three people from a certain group, and it travels, and that's how change is made. So, hey, what's gonna be next week show? Y'all may say, what's up with men's happiness? We can do it.
As he's men's happiness is pretty much straightforward. I mean, not to belabor, our departure, but at our base, we are simple creatures. We really are. The older we get, the more quiet we want. Um, Some men will say, well, we want a lot of sex. That's gonna vary by the individual male. Like David said, KYP, and we want to eat well. I mean that really sounds, you know, too good to be true. But once men get up in age, we don't have time for all that stuff. We, we want to be on a nice yacht, couple waves. If you're drinking beer, if you're drinking whatever it is that you're drinking, that's it. We I'll tell you what. You really want to know what makes me happy? Dallas winning the Super Bowl, Sabres winning the Stanley Cup,
Oh,
Sixers winning the title.
mm,
That's
damn,
it.
your ass. You fucked up with that. That shit. I can't even see none of that. I can't see none of that shit happen. We might be rolling in our graves when that shit happen. But
But
Dallas,
honestly, I mean,
Dallas been close. They was knocking on the door or whatever, but I don't know what system they got going on. Philly, they fought in the Sabres. I haven't followed hockey like that in years. Actually, since I've been in Maryland, I used to follow the Sabres like that, but they
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a lifelong
they
Sabres fan.
just
I mean, and you know what the funny thing about that is, over the past winter, uh, um, hasn't necessarily been coming across my Facebook feed, but I've been seeing them in reels. These places, and most of them are in Canada because it really doesn't get cold enough in the United States unless you go to the um, the mountain time zones. These places where there's just ponds for as long as you can see, just frozen. I love to ice skate. I haven't taken up skiing yet, but I love to ice skate. I love the ice skate, man.
show
They had
me the footage. You owe me like 2 or 3 footages.
ice
You
skating.
skated
I'll post that
and
tonight.
and your dancing at Rick's party. You stump the ground,
I don't know.
whatever.
I don't know if that. I don't. I have to try and track that down. I know somebody's got some somewhere. But the ice skating,
You
yeah,
know, I'm
I
just
had the ice
messing with
skating when I was in Toronto on my birthday. It was
you.
about 4 years ago. That's the last time I've been in Toronto because they closed down my party spot. I was kind of hurt. That was personal, even though it was a COVID related thing. I was just like, they closed. It was Alley Cats. Used to be uptown on Young Street, up relatively speaking, upper downtown Toronto. That was my go to spot, man. On my birthday, it didn't matter if I was going with somebody, going by myself. I was always guaranteed a good time. Then it's closed, so now I've got to find another party spot in Toronto. Such is life.
Well, people, I always say we ain't done with these conversations. We put stuff out there just to marinate, and we're not going to see 300, 400, 500 people watching it. But the one thing it is, we'll put it out there, and we'll drum up more conversation, and sooner or later, people are like, "Damn." They'll never admit it, but they're like, "Damn, we got that from the counselor's corner." They've been talking
Mhm.
about that shit. They've been talking about it. A lot of people won't admit it, but the thing is, we're consistent. We're here. If you're someone and it's a subject matter that you say, damn, I want to touch on that. I want somebody to look into that. This is happening. Hit us up. We ready and willing to tackle it and uh, give a different spin on the conversation or the topic. Again, nobody's no expert. If you're an expert in something, that means you don't know a whole lot about other things.
Yep.
Uh, we just put stuff out there. It's day to day stuff. Only thing we could do is give our feedback or opinion on something. You ain't got to agree with it. We ain't saying shit is right or that. Like if you don't agree with this, like you're gonna be doomed and all that. But we're just giving our opinion of and our experiences. But we don't get out of here. Oh, I gotta go back to word tomorrow. See, and that's one of the things you want to control. You want to control your time. Yeah. I don't know who's listening, but if they are, shit, I'm about to control my time. I gotta control my time because time is short. You
Yeah,
gotta understand that. Control your time because as you get older, time is short. So you want to be able to say, hey, my crew is going here on this time. I don't want to put in no paperwork. Could I get off? I want to be able to control that to say, oh, that's where we're going. I'm there. You want to you want to be the boss of your time as you get older. Now, some people you're not there, but one of the things that can help you is wherever you at is always be a model person and do what you got to do. Because a lot of times people lose jobs and you go back and forth. They could be working somewhere, young people, 4 or 5 years. You know what? You just gave that away if you can't get a reference from them. So your
yeah,
next employee can say, "What were you doing during this time?" You'll go to the you'll go to two or three different jobs that was like a different gap, 7 8 years. But they're gonna piggyback to say, "What were you doing during this time?" Gotta have an explanation. Don't burn bridges. Learn how to navigate through those bridges. They might not always be good grounds or whatever, but if you do it right, you're like, I ain't gonna worry about it. Well, the bottom line, you don't want to have beefs. People are like, I don't
right.
give a damn. Move such and such. You want to have less beefs as possible. And when you be able to control that, you're gonna have more happiness. That's all I got. Herb, anything else? We gonna get out of here. I don't know if you heard me. You got anything else?
No, that is it. It is time for the fat man to go eat.
You decide what you're gonna eat.
Still don't know.
I think you know, but
I
you
know when
don't
I step into the kitchen and start opening cupboards and doors and drawers and something's gonna say, eat me.
whatever the case is, but it is um we all have to get on a mission to take care of our bodies because that's our tempo, whatever. And I haven't worked out in a long time, and I've been going through. Oh my God, I was like, oh, I definitely got arthritis in my shoulder and all that because I felt the rain coming. It didn't rain, but yo, we got to take care of our bodies.
Yeah.
Some shit is more painful than others, but other than that, I'm out. On to the next one. See y'all next time.
All right,
Thanks for
people,
the
y'all take care.
participation. Y'all be safe. See you soon. Peace.